In every generation, there comes a moment when an ordinary person rises above extraordinary circumstances. This is a story about one such individual, an individual who, like many of us, started with nothing more than a dream, a belief, and the courage to keep going, even when life had every reason to push him down. He was not born into wealth. He was not surrounded by comfort. Instead, he grew up in a small home where opportunities were rare and hopes were often replaced by responsibilities. His mother worked long hours, sometimes taking jobs she never liked, just to keep the family alive. She would often leave early in the morning and return late at night. Yet despite her exhaustion, she never forgot to remind her son of one important truth. You are meant for something greater. Don't let your circumstances decide your future. These words shaped his childhood. While other kids played outside, he spent hours reading books that were older than him. He didn't understand everything written in them, but he understood one thing clearly. Knowledge could take him far away from the life he was born into. School was not easy either. He was different from other students. Some mocked him for being quiet. Some teased him for dreaming too big. But every time he felt like giving up, he remembered his mother's words. He remembered how she sacrificed her own dreams so he could build his. Years went by, and he continued to rise. Slowly, he became known for something no one expected: his voice. Not the loudness of it, but the strength of what he said. He spoke with honesty. He spoke with hope. And above all, he spoke with the belief that a single life could change thousands. One day, he stood in front of a crowd for the first time. His hands trembled. His heart raced. But when he opened his mouth, silence filled the hall. People listened as he shared his story, not as a hero, but as a young dreamer trying to overcome fear. He told them about his mother's sacrifices, his struggles in school, his loneliness, and the tiny victories that gave him reasons to live. That day, something inside him changed. He realized his words had power, not because they were perfect, but because they were true. From that moment, he dedicated his life to inspiring others. Wherever he went, he carried a simple message: your background does not define your destiny. He started helping students who felt lost. He visited communities where people believed their lives had no purpose. He spoke to those who were on the edge of giving up. And every time he repeated the same belief, that greatness is not born, it is created through effort, discipline, and unshakable hope. But life was not finished testing him. As he grew older, he began facing hardships more painful than he had ever imagined. The world criticized him. Some questioned his identity. Some doubted his intentions. Some spread lies about him to break his confidence. Yet despite the hurt, he remained calm. He kept reminding himself of the promise he made: to help others dream again. One night, after a long and exhausting day, he sat alone on a quiet street. The air was cold and the world felt heavier than ever. For a moment, he wondered if all his efforts were worth it. He wondered if he was strong enough to carry the weight of expectations. Then he remembered his mother. He remembered her standing in the doorway, exhausted yet smiling, telling him she believed in him even when no one else did. He wiped his tears, stood up, and whispered to himself, "If I stop now, those who believe in me will lose hope. I cannot let that happen." And so he continued forward, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. His speeches began to travel across cities, then across countries. Thousands of people listened to him. Many said his words gave them the strength to rebuild their lives. Some left their bad habits behind. Others achieved dreams they once thought were out of reach. Years later, when people looked at him, they didn't just see a leader. They saw a man born from struggle, a man shaped by sacrifice, a man who refused to let fear win. And whenever someone asked him what the secret to success was, he always said the same thing: success is not about being special. It's about believing in yourself when the world refuses to. It's about standing back up every time life pushes you down. His journey became a symbol of hope for millions, not because he was perfect, but because he proved that even the simplest beginnings can lead to the greatest achievements.
Every inspiring journey reaches a point where the world starts watching. After years of struggle and dedication, the young dreamer had reached a position he never imagined. He was now a mentor, a voice, a guide for people who once felt invisible. But success did not make his life easier. In fact, it made his battles even harder. There were days when the pressure felt unbearable. People expected him to always speak perfectly, always act flawlessly, and always know the right answer. They forgot he was human too. They forgot he carried scars no one could see. But he never used those struggles as an excuse. Instead, he used them as fuel. He always said, "Every person carries invisible battles. But those battles are the very things that make us strong." He began traveling to places where hope was fading. In one village, he met a boy who had lost his father. The boy told him he wanted to quit school because he felt life was unfair. Our speaker sat with him for an hour, talking gently, explaining that pain does not end your story, it shapes it. Months later, the boy returned with a medal from a school competition, proudly saying, "Your words saved me." In another town, he met a girl who believed she was too weak to achieve her dreams. People around her constantly told her she was not enough. He looked her in the eyes and said, "If you start believing in yourself, no one can stop you." That girl went on to become the first student in her family to attend university. Stories like these became the heart of his mission. He didn't aim to change the whole world, he aimed to change one life at a time. And slowly, those small changes became a movement. But fame brought criticism too. Some people accused him of pretending to care. Some said his story was exaggerated. Others tried to pull him down because they felt threatened by his rising influence. Every time he opened social media, he saw comments that could break anyone's spirit. Yet, he handled criticism the same way he handled struggle, with patience. He often said, "If someone tries to bring you down, it means you are above them." Instead of replying with anger, he continued working silently. He believed that true success does not require noise, it requires consistency. One night, while preparing for one of the biggest speeches of his life, he walked into an empty auditorium. The lights were dim, the chairs were empty, and the silence echoed in the room. He stood at the center of the stage and took a deep breath. He remembered all the moments that brought him here. His mother's sacrifices, the loneliness of his childhood, the books that became his teachers, the bullies who tried to crush him, the failures that almost broke him, and the people who believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. With a silent smile, he whispered, "This is not my achievement. This is the victory of everyone who supported me." The next morning, the hall was filled with thousands of people. Cameras flashed. The world waited for his words. When he finally spoke, his voice carried the weight of every struggle he had ever faced. He talked about resilience, about how courage is not the absence of fear but the decision to rise despite it. He spoke about kindness, about how helping one person can impact generations. And he spoke about dreams, reminding everyone that dreams are not meant to be easy, they are meant to be worth it. People listened with tears in their eyes. Some felt comfort, some felt courage, and some felt a spark inside them that they hadn't felt in years. When he ended his speech, the applause was thunderous. Not because he spoke perfectly, but because he spoke truthfully. After the event, a reporter asked him, "What motivates you to keep inspiring others even when life challenges you?" He smiled and replied, "I keep going because I know someone out there needs hope. And if my voice can save even one life, then every struggle is worth it." His journey continues even today. He travels, he teaches, he inspires. But most importantly, he reminds people of a simple truth. Greatness begins the moment you refuse to give up.